Alright guys, here is the video review for Warrior Class Shockwave from the new Cyberverse cartoon. And he's kind of a naff little walking tank here. He's not amazing. It's a very basic alt mode. These are his hands. You can see his one arm cannon here folded up. But he's basically doing this weird crab walk with a cannon on his back. His head's hiding behind his chest plate here. You do have some, thanks to the articulation in the legs and arms, you can make him you can put him in a wider stance if you wish. And actually, it looks a little better that way with a wider stance. So, but still kind of iffy. There's a lever here on his cannon that will flip out a power blast. You can see his cannon retracts and it. I don't know if he's throwing crystals or if that's supposed to be like a power blast effect. But that's how his cannon works here in tank mode. Nothing to write home about. But honestly, still between him and Starscream, still a better alt mode. To turn him into a robot, just bring his legs down, flip out on his feet. He does have hollow legs, but again, they're not as egregious as Starscream's because, one, he has thigh swivel when you rotate it around. He's got dual hinge hips, so that's a bonus. Then they can move independently of each other. He's got knees, and his feet don't really do anything. But like, he's actually got posable legs. Hooray! In a first for the line of the two I've reviewed. And then bring his arm down, rotate it around at the ball joint at the elbow. The ball joint at the elbow. Flip out his cannon, then just bring this arm down and around so you see his fist. And again, you got swivel shoulders in both directions, ball joint elbow, no articulation in the hands, but again, surprisingly posable for a Cyberverse Deluxe. Again, he says having only owned 2 of them, but I've seen them on the shelf. Then you bring his chest plate down, his little antenna thingies flip up. Now, because of the gimmick, like I said, Starscream does have the advantage of being able to turn his head because of both his cannon gimmick and the flip-up earpieces, his head does not turn. It is molded in place. Now, I know the design on this one has kind of a little ridge over his eye, but it looks like on the cartoon it's not quite as obstructive of his eye as this one is. Like, you only kind of see like the half-moon bottom half of his yellow eye. Now, this is supposed to be, in the cartoon, this is a secondary little yellow eye up here, and I don't know if it's a second little head or just a targeting beam, but you see more of his round eye in the cartoon promotional shots at any rate. So here he is in robot mode, and you take this cannon, there's a hinge right here where the gray meets the purple, and you can see how the tab that flipped the gun piece out is going into a slot here on his shoulder. And this is actually pretty neat because here he is in his final robot mode. Everything's folded into place. It's clearly Shockwave, and he's a fun, posable robot. He's a nice representation of Shockwave. He's fun, he's cool, and he can actually move his body without making you want to scream. And then his gimmick also is fairly well integrated here, partly because it's not tied to any of his major torsos or limbs. There's a little lever back here, and you want to grab it back here because both sides of this now are going to flip out. And if you hold it by the side, it's geared in such a way that it probably won't hurt anything, but it's safe as you lift this up, and then that tab that was in here is going to slide up in this groove and then get caught up here, which is going to push it back like we were doing in cannon mode. So when you flip this up over his head, you can see the blast from either side automatically flip out to fire over his shoulder. And that's pretty darn cool. It's unobtrusive. There is a spring-loading gimmick in that when you bring him down, it does kind of pop him back down fairly quickly. Although that may just be the gears now that I think about it. I see the spring right there. So there is a spring to help power those things back down and hold everything locked in the folded-up position when it's not deployed. But yeah, it kind of makes sense for Shockwave. I like the idea of him having a shoulder cannon that fires when he flips it up. It's unobtrusive. It's a neat way of doing the gimmick. If you're going to put gimmicks on all these, like spring-loaded gimmicks on all these guys, this is a good example of how you do it. This spinny torso is not. And he's actually, like I said, I would recommend Shockwave. I didn't think I was going to recommend both of them after I opened Starscream first, and I thought, oh, maybe Shockwave sucks too. No, Shockwave is actually a really good Shockwave. And they dumped the price back down. They're not as high priced as some of the Power of the Prime stuff. got up to. They're $14.99 at Target. You may find them a little cheaper at Walmart. Still, when you compare toys these days back to the stuff we used to pay $14 for during like Beast Wars and things like that, yeah, okay, they've shrunk a little bit. But like I said, if you dig Shockwave, I think you wouldn't feel like you're wasting your money if you get this little dude. He's actually kind of fun. And again, here he is with the Cyberverse Starscream, and just visually they look okay together, as long as you don't think too hard about Starscream. And here's both of them with the Robots in Disguise Starscream, who is still, I think here even now, I would recommend Robots in Disguise Starscream over any of the Cyberverse stuff. Although Shockwave's close, I won't lie, Shockwave's close. He's actually a pretty decent figure. So yeah, there you go, Cyberverse Shockwave. I having played with some of them and seen some of them, I'm not going to go deep on this line unless they start releasing some cooler stuff. Ultimate Optimus, Ultimate Megatron. Ultimate Megatron for sure is going to get bought. Ultimate Optimus, we'll see how I feel when I see him in the store. But outside of that, I really don't know how far I'm going in on this line. But Shockwave's good.